Good morning, guys. So this morning what I want to do is show you a method to create a really cool background. Last year I did a tutorial it was called Watercolor Nebula, and I'm gonna link it down below, and if I can figure out how to do an iCard, I'll do an iCard in the corner here. But let me show you. This is what it looks like. I don't think this is the one that I actually showed you guys on the Nebula tutorial. It might have been this one. This is what we're going to achieve today using this little square. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I want this to be the background for another mixed media morsel called Silhouettes. So I want to have this nebula-ish looking background on this smaller card. And while I do realize that I could just cut this up into a 6x6, which is this size, I'd rather just do it from scratch because it's been a while since I've done it. So let me give you a list of the supplies that I have here. This is a 6x6 media color piece of paper, and I've already pre-prepped it with white gesso. This is the pearl white gesso that I favor because I have a lot of it and I got it for fairly inexpensive. Today I'm using this glass dish, and this is just to keep all of my water and my salt inside in a contained area so I don't end up with a big mess, because it can be kind of messy, especially once you start dropping salt on it. So I have that. Then I have my watercolor palette here. This is a big brush by Royal and Langnickel. This is a size 24 because I want big strokes of color in here before I do anything. I have a mini mister. I have a fresh cup of water here, and then of course I have my salt. Now this is Himalayan sea salt, pink Himalayan sea salt. This happens to be what I have right now in my pantry. I have some Morton's kosher salt, which would work just fine as well, but which is what I used last time as a matter of fact, but this time I want to use actual sea salt to see if there is some difference. So those are all the supplies that you need to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet down this mixed media paper very, very well. You want it to be wet because you want the color of your watercolors to really spread out and mix and do all that fun stuff. And you want it to stay wet for as long as you're doing it so that the salt will absorb the moisture and create the pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my brush. Because you do also need, which I forgot, you do also need some paper towels because you want to clean your brush at least a little bit between colors. So make sure you have a paper towel available. So this is just wet, and like I said, I just want this to be really very wet because I want the color to do beautiful things, and that's the reason why I've got the mini mister here. that, of course, the more salt that you put on there, the more moisture is going to be absorbed quicker, etc., etc. So at this point, you just want to let this sit. When you're satisfied with the amount of salt that you have on here and where you have it and all that jazz, you just want to let it sit and dry. Now, I've never tried, and I have my heat gun, my heat tool here. So I'm going to try and use my heat tool to dry it so it's a little bit faster. The last time I did this, I just literally let it dry by itself, and it came out just fine. I just don't want the salt to move around, so I'm going to keep my heat tool kind of up here versus down here, so it's more like a hair dryer. So let me go ahead and dry this, and we will see how this turns out. Hopefully it won't mess it up. But if it does, I've already prepped another page so that I can just do this all over again. So it's not that big of a deal. That's the fun of experimenting. I was kind of hoping to be all slick and professional and use a brush, but salt, of course, is dried to the paper, so I have to just kind of rub it off with my thumb. Then I'll go back and brush the debris off. I've even seen people watercolor down and then put a stencil on top, and of course the water holds the stencil down, but then sprinkle salt on it and then dry it, and well, you have to let it dry because obviously you can't dry underneath a stencil. But then gently peel it up, and boom, you have a beautiful, beautiful stencil done in watercolor with salt resist. So anyway, that's how it works. I'm going to try one more, and I might even do that with the stencil And I may tape my stencil down on the plain white so the white is what shows through and the resist would be, yeah, I think I'll do that. So that'll probably just be the silent portion of this film. So just stay tuned and watch, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, cross your fingers, it'll come out really great. So as you can see, it did do somewhat of what I was looking for, but I think the majority of the pattern actually comes from the watercolor settling into the edges of the stencil, not so much the salt, but it still gave a really cool effect and I'm really pleased with it. So that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you try out this watercolor and salt technique. Have a great day.